Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Dylan with Tucson Future Classics, and that is our 2003 Pontiac Bonneville. I'm going to ask you all to bear with me today because these Pontiac Bonnevilles are very much an if you know, you know kind of car, and I really dig them, so I'm going to get a little extra nerdy. This one has 141,500 miles on it. It's the SLE trim, which means it has every option except the supercharged 3800 V6, which is not really a knock on this. The naturally aspirated one is notoriously reliable. And in these full-size G-platform General Motors cars, they have a reputation for just going, I'd say forever, but that might not be long enough. This platform is shared with the Buick Park Avenue, the Olds 98, and the full-size Chevrolet Impalas from this era, and they're just very, very well put together. These have a reputation as mechanics cars. If you need a car that is bigger than a Toyota Camry, but you really don't want to work on your car because you spend all day working on other people's cars, these are the cars you seek out, like this, or the LeSabre, or the Park Avenue, that kind of stuff. This is the slightly sportier version of it, being the Pontiac Bonneville, and they're just really fantastic. I'm going to climb inside of this thing, get up under the hood, show you some of the most common things that go wrong on these that have been addressed to further bulletproof them, poke in the trunk, inside, hit all the buttons, and then we'll take this thing for a quick spin. I'll start with the heart of this thing, that 3800 Series 2 V6. To make this easy, turn this, pop that off, whole filler nut comes off. I'm going to set this down here to the side so we can look at all the greasy bits. For 140-something thousand miles, there is very, very little residue built up under that valve cover, and I'll point out a few things that are common problems on these that have been addressed. So, the cooling system, specifically the water neck and thermostat, go bad. This has been done. New plumbing underneath here, new rad, everything all the way across. We did a coolant flush when we got it preemptively, and an oil change. This actually has a beefed up alternator because in the back, you can't see it here, but in the back of this car, it has an air pump for the self-leveling air suspension, which still works, which is very, very cool. Those airbags usually split. It looks like they have been serviced before. Coming down here, these this whole engine and transmission is rubber mounted. The fronts and rears tend to fail. We redid this front one because it was pretty tired. And over here is the Achilles heel. That little elbow there is a coolant elbow that runs under the intake manifold. From the factory, they were plastic. A common aftermarket fix is to redo them in aluminum. That has been done on this, and that is a huge peace of mind and time saver because if that fails, you lose your coolant. You don't know you lost your coolant because it comes out the front and down and doesn't steam. And to fix it, you have to take the entire intake manifold and top of the engine off. So pretty good peace of mind up under here that a lot of the common failure points and pain points have been done. Coming around the back of our big booty Bonnie here, I popped the trunk from the release in the glove box, but you have a keyhole here and a remote release on your key fob. It is spring loaded up. And inside this big trunk, just what you'd expect from a full-size GM car of its era, you also have the factory trunk netting, which is pretty cool. You've got pins up there and pins back here that you can set it to adjust what size product you need to fit in the back and hold tight. Bigger stuff, smaller stuff, grocery bags, what have you. Down under here, you've got your donut spare tire tucked neatly into the trunk. But let's get inside. Climbing inside, let's see if we'll hear it whir. Nope, I guess I still have good pressure on it from me taking this thing for a drive before. Anyway, up here inside, power windows, power mirrors, power door locks, automatic dimming and timed lights with your fog lights, so you can set them to go on and off however late or early you want, depending on how light or dark it is outside. Pretty standard fare GM. Headlights, high beams, cruise control. Steering wheel does have controls, but it is pretty chewed up from, you know, age and mileage. These buttons all do work. I just don't remember what this side here does. Idle's good. The other two things that were issues on these cars that are pretty common is the oil pressure sensor. So we changed that. It now reads correctly. If it fails, it spikes to 120 and just sits there. And the fuel level sending unit, what tells the car how much gas it has, those go bad pretty often. So we actually put a whole new fuel basket, sending unit, pump and all, into the tank. Moving along here, this is pretty cool. These were loaded with tech for their time. This is the driver information section. So like if you have a door open, it'll show you there. If you're low on washer fluid or low on coolant, it'll light up here. If trunk is open, that'll light up. The doors, everything. It's pretty cool. And down here, you can select different modes, like tire pressure, it'll tell you that. If you go into vehicle data, it'll show you your average fuel economy, your instant fuel economy, approximate range on the tank, total fuel used since you reset the system, oil life monitor, all that stuff. It's really, really cool. Up here, you have an automatic adjusting rear view mirror that'll automatically dim. It does have OnStar, but this being an 03, that OnStar has been sundowned a while ago. The cell signals they use just no longer received. It was all analog stuff. Up here, your standard fare mirrors. These ones, unfortunately, a little beat up from the desert, and they no longer light up. We were trying to get them to work, but the wires had been snipped, so it looks like they were replaced at some point in time in this car's life. Down here, radio, which the steering wheel controls do control all of it. This screen, annoyingly enough, does not light up, but these GM head units were in everything, so they're pretty cheap and plentiful if you want to replace it, but it does still play, and because classical music is usually royalty free, I can show you it's got a pretty decent sound system in it. HVAC controls, temperature, how hot you want it, fan, how hard you want it, and all these buttons tell it where you want it. Now down below, I'll move this so I can get a clear picture of it. You've got traction control on and off, and your heated seats. Plus, extra little storage cubby there, which would have been an ashtray, but it doesn't look like it was opted with the insert. 2 cup holders here. Got your shifter here for your 4-speed automatic overdrive. Big glove box with 2 sets of Pontiac books in it, which is pretty cool. And because this has aftermarket wheels on it, it comes with the lug adapter. There's your remote trunk pop there. The seats are power forward, power backward, adjustable up and down, but the recline and the lumbar are still manual on both driver and passenger. And one other cool thing, well, 2, you got your little sunglass cubby up here, and this is pretty cool. Up here, if I can block the sun, that covers a 12 volt. And I said before, if you know, you know. That is usually where you would hide the wiring and equipment for a radar detector or a compact CB radio. These things were really designed to be highway missiles. So with that, I'll jump in the back and we'll take this for a rip. All right, here in the back seat, before I spin the phone around, you have got your center console here, cup holders, drop it down, pass through into the trunk for big stuff. Big plush back seats, child seat anchors back here if you need kiddie seats, and I'll spin this phone real quick. There we go, spin it around, and the big dude test. I'm 6'1", 260 pounds, and this driver's seat is where I sit reclined. So, lots of room, big plush seat. It's exactly what you'd expect from a full-size General Motors car. It's a pretty good place to be. And I'm gonna spin this forward one more time so it'll scramble. There we go. And down here in the center, got vents for the backseat passengers, got a 12 volt outlet, and because this is the last vestiges of big GM cars, that's right, backseat passengers get their own ashtray. The whole family can smoke in here. I'm going to have to cut this drive section a little bit short because I spent too long talking up all the other things. The sun's getting low and I kind of want to go home. But I'll show you off what makes this such a good car to drive. One of the settings in the personalization settings, doors automatically lock when you put it in drive, and it reads those personalization settings and saves them based on the individual key fob, which is kind of cool. Out of our gate onto some properly rough pavement here. Show you no squeaks, rattles, or clunks, and I have all the windows down so you can hear everything. Four-speed trans, clipping through the gears, and because of the way this is designed, it takes very, very little throttle pedal to actually maintain speed once you get up to it. So I'm going to come to a quick stop here, pause the video, shoot across, and just take you through a little neighborhood, give you a 0 to 40 to 0, and we'll get a little bit of speed in this thing after that. All right, spinning around a little cul-de-sac here in the neighborhood. And what I'm going to do is stage up right here, and we'll do a quick 0 to 40 to 0. Show you the full ABS braking that doesn't pull or do anything weird. $30 and $40. Boom. And I had the traction control off for a little bit more aggressive start. But when ABS kicks in, you'll see a low track light pop up, and it just barks to a halt. So let's put a little bit of speed on this thing and jump back in. All right, jumping up on our little frontage road here. I'm not going to bother getting on the interstate because it's rush hour. But we'll let it eat. 3.8 just pulls and pulls. If I let off, RPMs fall into overdrive. And it's a pretty good ride, especially like 65 to 75 is kind of this car's sweet spot on the highway. It just really likes being there. But I'm going to spin this thing back to the yard. We'll do our wrap up. So I had to recruit a little bit of help here for this, but I want to show you guys one last thing that GM did to differentiate these from all the rest of the full-size cars that this is based on. This being the sportier Bonneville, they put a more free-flowing exhaust system on it from the factory, and it sounds pretty good. It has a nice rasp to it for a V6. Hit it, Brian. Yeah, sounds good. Thanks to the exhaust note assist from the owner, we can finally wrap everything up here on our Big Booty Bonnie. For the full listing on this vehicle, including a suite of pictures, written description, the Carfax vehicle history report detailing the 2 previous owners, and the nearly 50 service records this has accrued, please see us at TucsonFutureClassics.com. And when you're ready to come down and take a look at this thing, we are an appointment-only dealership. So give us a phone call. Shoot us a text message. Email us at info@TucsonFutureClassics.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Tucson Future Classics, so you can hit us up on Messenger or slide into our DMs. However you get in touch with us, we'll be here ready to show this off to you. Hopefully I've given you everything you could ever want or need to make an informed decision about this car. And as always, I've been Dylan. We'll see you soon.